All right. Hello, guys. This is Debarchan here, and welcome to today's session, which is on real-time analysis on Microsoft Cloud's platform, or also known as the Azure platform. Okay. So uh, I have just a few slides to give some background information on how this thing works, and then we will jump all into the demo. Okay. So, a couple of session takeaways for you. So you will understand how the Microsoft Cloud Services or Azure Services, and more specifically the Azure Data Services, how they work together cohesively and build a complete solution on data analysis. And of course, no analysis is valuable if you cannot present it in a nice visualization tool. So we will see how we can use tools like Microsoft Power BI on-premise and on cloud to visualize the data. So these two basically will be the takeaways. A few acknowledgements, because this demo is a big one. It includes a lot of services. So I'm I'm not very proficient in each one of those. So the MTC Singapore team here in Microsoft, the Stream Analytics product team, and last but not least, my favorite open source project, uh, which is there, called Tweet INVI. So uh, I have taken help from all these three guys, and at the end built this demo. So going directly into the technical perspective of it, so any uh, analysis is not complete without it goes through two parts. Okay, one is your real-time analysis. You do some analysis and see the output as and when the data comes, the analysis on the stream of data. And the other part is obviously the analysis on your data at rest. Okay, so you have typically heard of batch processing systems like Hadoop. uh, so typically systems like those are used to process your data at rest, because not every analysis that you can perform while your data is coming in or streaming in, right? So without a combination of both, our data analysis part is never complete. Okay, so in this session today, we are only going to focus on the real-time analysis part, that is the streaming analysis as the data comes in, and whatever we can do with it using the Microsoft Azure tools. um, I'm planning a second part of this that shows the analysis of the same data at rest. But again, it might take some time. If you are interested in that, I have another session that is there in the YouTube channel that does some data analysis at rest. So you can take some idea from there in the meantime if you are interested. So coming back to the real-time part, so any real-time analysis part has some components. Okay, it's like you have to first get in the data into your system, so which is typically called data ingestion. You need some storage infrastructure to store that data, and again some automation that will bring the data in. Okay, the batches of data every day, or whatever period you want to choose. So uh, a common open source engine for streaming in data is Apache Flume. But however, the same thing can be accomplished with some coding and development effort using Azure Cloud Services or worker roles. For stream processing, again, there is something like Storm that is available from Apache and open source. Uh, in this demo, we are going to use Azure Stream Analytics, that's Microsoft's service to do processing on streaming data. And of course, as I said, the last but not least, the visualization part. So this can be done, we will see that this can be done if you want a custom visualization, you want to develop your own visualization, you can do that using an Azure web app, or it's just like a website that is running on Azure. So that's your custom development thing, and you can use out of the box charts and visualization demos using Power BI. So Power BI is kind of a self-service BI tool where you don't need to do any much manual development. So you can just choose the off-the-shelf tools from the toolbox, and you can get a nice visualization ready in just a matter of few clicks. So we will quickly have a look at that if time permits as well. Uh, Moving forward, a bit deeper look into the Azure services that we're using. So again, we're using event hubs. So event hubs you can, in a layman's term, think about as something similar to Windows message queues, where you put in some data. Okay, there's a publisher which puts in data, and there's a subscriber that subscribes to that queue and picks up the data whenever that is available. So Azure Event Hubs work pretty much the same way. Uh, it has advantages like it can process massive, terabytes and zettabytes of data, and it is integrated with the entire Azure infrastructure. Okay, so we use Azure Event Hubs to stream in the data as it comes. So specifically in today's demo, we are going to stream in live Twitter feeds, okay, into our system and do the analysis on those tweets. So that will be a live analysis on the real-time data. Uh, Note one thing, that this event hub is not by any means a permanent storage. So if you want to persist your data for later analysis, like the data analysis at rest, as I said before, you have to still save it, and in some persistent storage. So the entire Azure infrastructure is backed up by blob storage. So that is the storage infrastructure of Azure. So we will see how we can push the data. So after going through Event Hub, the data will ultimately get pushed to Azure blob storage for persistent storage. We are going to use a machine learning algorithm to compute the sentiment on each tweet that comes in and give me back score, a sentiment score for that specific tweet. So I'll able to determine whether that tweet is negative, positive, or if it is neutral. Unfortunately, I'm not able to show the machine learning experiment at this point because it has some information that I'm not able to share. Okay, so maybe I'll just strip those sensitive information sometime and build a cleaner experiment and show you that, but I'll just show you how this works. Uh, and again, the core of this demo is the Stream Analytics service that actually does the computation or the analysis on the stream of data. Okay. And so just a quick overview on how the services work. So we use the cloud services to ingest the live data. Okay, we use Azure Blob Storage to store, Event Hubs, as I said, to facilitate that publisher subscriber model, web service from ML or machine learning to compute sentiment, again Stream Analytics for the analysis that we want to do, and then web apps, and that is websites, Azure websites, and Power BI for visualization of the data. So that's all. That's all the slides that I had. So now I'll go ahead and start sharing my screen. Okay, so we will jump right into the demo. Just write a yes or no in the chat window, couple of you. If you can see my desktop, then I'll continue. All right, that's cool. So so again, I'll not be able to see the messages anymore, so I'll not check the pings. So I'll minimize this and I'll bring up my Azure portal. Okay, so this is the new Azure portal. You can almost do the same stuff using the old portal, but both of them use different models, and the recommended way to go forward is to use the new portal. That is the one that you're seeing here. So I'll stick to that. So first, in the left hand side, the list that you see, so these are all my Azure services, okay, that are available. So I'll just go to web apps, which hosts my web site. So this is the website. If you see, it's a web app and it's running. Okay, so this is, if you go back to the presentation, as when I said a custom dashboard using a web app, so this is that custom dashboard that I built. Okay, the website that I built to visualize my analysis. Okay, so I'll go to the settings part later. Let me just browse and show you how the end output looks like. Okay. All right. So it started. So if you see, there are three distinct sections, right? The lower section, which has these 5 boxes. So when we grab tweets, we just cannot grab any and every tweet, right? We have to select on what we want to, like on which keyword or which hashtag we are trying to grab the tweet. So in my case, I have chosen keywords like Xbox, Skype, Surface. I have two more which are yet to populate because I guess there are no tweets on those. So those were, as far as I remember, Azure and Hadoop. So these are these lower five boxes. These are the topics or the keywords on which we are capturing the tweet. It shows some basic analysis on like how many tweets on that keyword you have received in the last 5 seconds. So it says for Xbox I have received four tweets last 5 seconds. For Skype the same. For Surface is one tweet per 5 seconds. So that's one. The middle part which shows 7 of 10. So this shows the average sentiment score of the tweets that you got. All right. Okay. We just popped one more popped up. So that's Lumia. I forgot. I had Lumia also in my keywords. So that's a basic aggregation analysis that these boxes show on these keywords. Okay. The upper right box that is green, so it just shows in the tweets, okay, as they come in with those keywords. All right. And you will see that there are different color codings on those tweets. Some are white. If I scroll down, some are green, right? And we will even see some are red. All right, so they are color coded. So that means the ones that are white, these are like the sentiment computer engine, it computed is as a neutral uh, sentiment. Okay, it's not able to assign any score that tells me if it is positive or negative. Now the machine learning algorithm that I have, it's not 100% tested. So yeah, again, it doesn't uh, account for tweets coming in other languages other than English, right? So all tweets in different languages, it will say white because it cannot able to parse. So it needs some fine tuning, but it works at a basic level. So that's how the color coding in the right hand side box works. So seeing the tweet color, we will be able to determine whether it was positive or negative. And the upper left box where you see the graphs moving, so these are basically an aggregation on the entire tweets. Okay, it plots the total tweets I got at a point of time. Okay, it's irrespective of any topic, right? So it's just the aggregation of the entire number of tweets that come in and the average sentiment of the entire tweets, combining all those keywords. So that's how my visualization looks like. So you can pause it and you can go through like what are the tweets if it was correct, and you can do some maximizing, minimizing and things like that. Okay, so that's how my dashboard, that's the end output. Okay, and now we will see how we built it. So let me just close this guy. As I said, the cloud service, so again the first part will be ingesting the data, right? Bringing the live tweets in again. For that I use a definitely the public Twitter APIs that are exposed to get the tweets. Again, there's a nice wrapper, as I showed you, that Codeplex project, the tweetinv.codeplex.com. It does a really nice job to write a very simple wrapper on top of the Twitter APIs and reduces your pain as an end user if you are planning to consume those APIs. So I have just okay, I think somebody is trying to say something. Okay guys, if there's a problem, I'll suggest you try again, or better wait for when the recording is available. I'm really sorry about it. So okay, where was I? All right, the cloud services that will bring in the tweets to your system, right? So if I, again, in the left hand side, all the resources are all listed. So I'll go to cloud services classic because it was created from the old portal, and forget about the top two ones. The next two that you see, so these are the cloud services to publish and consume the tweets. Okay, so let's focus on the publisher because we are looking into how we get in the tweets. So this is the guy that actually brings in the tweets into the system, right, into the event hubs. All right. Now this is nothing but a ASP.NET application. Okay, I have published that application as a cloud service. So it's better now we come back to the development environment and have a look at the, oops, wrong window. So let's have a look at the actual solution. Right, so this is my project that actually does a lot of things, right? One of the things is to publish or to grab, to extract the tweets from the live Twitter APIs, right? So this tweet publisher, so again, I'll not go through. So if you can see, it's a big project, right? It will take ages if I go and explain each and every class that I have here. So what I'll do is, I'll again, as I do after every call, I'll open source the entire thing, so you can examine the project on your own on how it works. Okay. As of now, understand this, that this publisher actually is the class that is responsible for. It has all the Twitter APIs and things like that. If you see, I have referenced the stream INVI, the tweet INVI helper classes. Okay, that I grabbed from the um, Codeplex project. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll run this directly. I'll start debugging. Okay, and you will see the same interface, the same website loads up because it's nothing but an ASP.NET website, right? But for a change, if you see, it's running from my local host. All right. So I'll just pause this. Okay, let it be there. There are two additional console processes that I've opened. So there are three startup projects defined for this solution. Okay. So one is this consumer. So it's all reading from the event hubs, which we will see in a moment, and this guy is the publisher. Okay, so this application actually is deployed as a cloud service, which we just saw as tweet publisher. So we don't have an interface here, but it's a console application that actually runs in the background and grabs the tweet. Now if you go back to the local host, the website, if you see that same interface, right? uh, so it's working that way. All right. So what we will see here is, let me go back. Okay, and let me stop debugging of this site. And if you see, so these are the web cloud services that are already published. Okay, the highlighted ones, but they are difficult to debug, right? So that's why we have two console host, corresponding console host applications. So these are the console applications which actually grabs the tweet and we can debug if something goes wrong. So I'll just expand the publisher and I'll go to the app.config. So in this app.config, you will actually see the keywords that we had specified. Okay, uh, let me highlight it for you. So this is the setting which actually tells me which keywords to grab. Okay, if you remember, we see it displays only the first five by default. So if you remember, these are the only things that we are seeing highlighted, right? So this is how it works. Here is the place where you specify the keyword that you are looking for. And again, of course, to access the Twitter APIs, you have to create an application in Twitter first, get your consumer key, consumer secret and stuff like that. Your user ID will definitely need to have the authentication tokens and stuff like that. So again, that's per user basis. So you have to get these values first. Couple of things to note here is there is a sentiment analysis API key. So this actually calls nothing but a if you see it calls a machine learning website, an Azure ML website. If you see, it's azureml.net. So again, this unfortunately is kind of sensitive in this experiment that I have. So I'll not be able to show you. Again, I'll try to show you. I'll strip off the sensitive information and show this Azure ML experiment later. But this is how it communicates to the machine learning web service to compute the sentiment. And this actually is the service bus connection string, or this is actually the way to specify the event hub details. All right. So we will see that's the name of the input event hub, or where the data comes in. Remember, this is the publisher. This will grab the tweets and send me. So it will send me input. So that input will be saved in an event hub called tweets in. All right. So that's how it works. So let me go back to the Azure portal again. Okay, and let me show you the event hubs. Okay. Okay, I don't see service bus, so let me bring in service bus here. Yeah, service bus namespaces. So it comes in my favorite list. I open this. So the service bus and the event hub part is still not ported to the new portal, so it will take us to the old Azure portal, okay, to see its details. So it's nothing, the same thing, but in a different look. Let's give it a couple of seconds to come up. So it's pretty much the same. You will see on the left hand side all my Azure resources, right? My storage, my cloud services and stuff like that. So again, under service bus, this is the, again, forget the second and the third one. This is the one where we are streaming in the tweets, okay? And under service bus we have event hubs. So let's go to event hubs. There are three event hubs, but let's just focus on the tweets in as of now. So that's the one where we are streaming in the tweets, right? If we go inside and if you see the dashboard, you will see that we are receiving a lot of data, right? 678 messages, 400 KB almost. So there are, it's plain text, so that's a lot of data. So that we make sure this way that we are actually getting the data into this event hub. All right, and what we are also doing is we are using a stream analytics job to save whatever data is coming in into an Azure blob storage. Okay, as I said, Azure blob storage is your persistent storage. So if I go back in my portal and I go to stream analytics jobs, so again I am doing it from here, you can do it from the new portal as well. So there are a few jobs. Let's focus on first the tweets archive one. So this is the one, let's go inside it. So this is the one which takes that input event hub tweets in as an input. Okay, as you see, the input for this stream analytics jobs is tweet in data stream, which is type event hub. Okay, there are some additional properties like the name of the event hub, the secret keys to access it and stuff like that. And the output is a blob storage, okay, Azure blob storage. So this job, what it will do is it will pick whatever comes into the event hub and it will put into this storage account called blob storage as conf tweet summary. Okay, so if I go back to my portal and go to storage accounts, so we have something in the left side called storage. So I'll see there is actually a storage account with this name, right? So this is the storage account where the data is persisted. So the Azure portal is not very intuitive in browsing through storage accounts. So I use a tool called Azure Storage Explorer. So what I can do is I can connect to my Azure storage accounts and see the data in a way that Windows Explorer shows us. So that's pretty much familiar. So if you see there's a, as we saw, it's the storage account called tweet summary, and I have folders in it or containers in it to contain the tweets. So if you see these are all the tweets that are getting streamed in, right? If I sort it according to date, you will see that today is 16th. So 16th 5:56 a.m. we got some tweets, and so every day we are getting these tweets, right? So it's as far as the stream analytics jobs runs, and as far as tweets are streamed into the input event hub, it will get stored in this blob storage. Okay, so that's how it works. Now there are two more stream analytics jobs, right? We saw there are a few more, but the one of our interests are these two. So these are actually doing some analysis on the real-time tweets. Okay, so one is doing the tweet summary. Okay, again the input will be the same, the input event hub. The output in that case, we don't need to send it to blob storage, we will send it to another event hub, okay, for the Azure website to pick the data which is already analyzed from this event hub. Okay, that's a new event hub. If you remember, there were two additional event hub, tweets out 1 and tweets out 2, along with tweets 1. So this stream analytics jobs picks up the input tweets and puts it into tweets out 1, another event hub, but it performs an aggregation. So if I go to the query part, so again this is another strong feature of stream analytics where you can just write SQL like queries to aggregate your data. So that's, we are just doing a count and average sentiment, okay, on the data which comes in for the last 5 seconds. So tumbling window is again an inbuilt function that gives you the data for the last 5 seconds. Okay, so it takes the parameters, so it can give you for the last 5 minutes, 5 hours, depending upon what parameter you pass, right? That's a inbuilt function. So what we are doing is total number of tweets and the average sentiment on the total tweets. If you remember, there's a graph that was displayed that showed the total number of tweets, irrespective of the keywords and their average. So this is the stream analytics job that is powering that graph. Okay, this is getting the data, and there is another stream analytics job, the tweets by topic. So this again pretty much does the same thing. From this event hub, tweets in, and it outputs to a tweets out to another event hub to pick up, and the query it uses is pretty much similar, but we are doing a group by on topic, right? So this will be the keyword based. So it will group by each topic or each keyword, and then it will count the number of tweets coming in on each topic and the average sentiment coming in on each topic, right? So this is powering the small boxes down under which showed the aggregated data for each tweet. Okay, so that's how it works. So uh, yeah, that's uh, pretty much it. The just to give the Azure machine learning. So there's some issue in logging on to this workspace right now. Okay, so again, I cannot show you how exactly this works, but basically think of it as a black box as of now. Okay, if there is enough interest, I can host a separate session on how to write a machine learning experiment to do sentiment to compute sentiment analysis on any given data, right? So that could be a different session altogether. So as of now, think of it as a black box. So when at the end of the session, when I share all the files, all the data, it will have the steps to create the machine learning experiment also. So you can get a idea from that way as well. Again, so for this call, think of it as a black box which takes each tweet as an input and it sends back a number 0, 1 or -1. Okay, um, that's how it works. So let me just show you in my code. Okay, let me get rid of this properties window, it's bothering me. So this part actually becomes true every time. Okay, can use Azure sentiment analytics, and if you see, this is an integer variable which is storing the return value of, if you remember the API keys for the Azure machine learning website, machine learning web service that we saw in app.config. So it's actually passing on the which machine learning API or web service I'm going to call, what is the URL of that web service endpoint, and what is the input argument. Okay, I'm passing the Twitter ID and the Twitter text, the actual text that is tweeted. And it will compute, as I said, it will take one tweet as an input and it will return an integer value that I'm scoring here. Okay, so that's how it actually works. Again, you can later study this entire project and see how it works. And again, there's a at the end there's a method which says send to event hub, which actually sends it to the tweets in event hub uh, with these values. Okay, so when it goes to the event hub, it already has a sentiment score and a topic classified. Okay, so that's how the entire thing works. All right, couple of things. So again, what I have done is, once this console host projects are tested, and when they are ready, when they work, I can run, as we saw, I can start debugging and confirm if that is working correctly. Once that is done, what you can do is you can just uh, publish them as uh, Azure web cloud services. Okay, and then they will run as a cloud service and doing the same thing. So the cloud service is nothing else but you can think about as a Windows service that runs in the background without any user input need required, and it just does its job. Okay, so yep, that's how it works. um, yeah, a couple of things that you will see is, once this guy is deployed, so for example the cloud services, right? That actually, so there are two cloud services. If I go here, again, forget about the first two. There's one publisher that we just saw, and there's one consumer also. So what this consumer does, again, if you remember, there were two stream analytics jobs that were putting data into two event hubs, right? So they were calculating the aggregate, they were calculating the topic and things like that, and they were putting in two event hubs. So that data needs to be consumed from those event hubs, right? As I said, event hub must have a publisher and a subscriber. So this consumer is like the guy who is actually consuming the data from those two event hubs. Okay, now if you see, uh, if you come here, okay, let's focus on the publisher first. So as we saw in the uh, Visual Studio project where we can specify our keywords, the same thing works here. So in case you want to change the keywords, right, you want to grab the tweets for a different set of keywords. So again, you don't have to redeploy or modify anything in the in your development project. So whatever settings are there in your app.config are exported under configure here in your cloud services. So if you see, we have the same set of keywords that we are. So again, if you want to change the keywords, you can just change these values here and it will start grabbing tweets. You have to stop and restart definitely, and it will start grabbing tweets on those values. All right, so that's one thing I wanted to show. uh, Again, the consumer is the guy which actually picks up the data. Again, there is nothing much in here apart from the service, the event hubs from where it will pick up. So if you remember, it will pick up from tweets out 1, tweets out 2, right? The ones where those two stream analytics jobs have put our aggregated data. And it will also pick up from tweets in, because that also has some raw data, right? Like for example, if you remember in the dashboard, there was a section where it displayed the tweets texts as it is, right? So for that we can need to connect back to the tweets in. So it connects to these three event hubs. Okay. There are some foul words obviously, so if there are some foul words, it will just ignore those tweets. So that's how the consumer works. Again, this consumer is nothing but another project, .NET code that is running. So like the publisher, we have a consumer console host, right? And each and every project has their respective classes under common, right? So this Twitter demo.twitter.common is the heart and soul of everything. So it had the backend base class for tweet publisher, and it has the same for the consumer as well. Okay, now if I go back to consumer, we will see that we are actually getting the data from those tweets out 1, tweets out 2, and stuff like that. Okay, so this is actually getting the data uh, from those three event hubs altogether, and it's pushing it to the Azure Web Service. Now again, I'm sorry, it's pushing it to the Azure website, okay, for visualization. Now again, how so if you see the Azure website, it's getting refreshed real time, right? Every a few seconds. So again, that is done automatically by a .NET library called SignalR. I'm not sure if you're aware of SignalR. So what SignalR does is it takes a host from which it is fed the data. So in our case, it will be the consumer. So the consumer will pick the data, the analyzed data from all the three event hubs, and it will send it to SignalR, and SignalR will add as a intermediate, a mediator between the website and the backend consumer, and it will supply the data in real time. So again, that website is nothing but a simple website project, right? So again, it's a part of this entire solution. So it's called real-time dashboard. Again, if you go to the default.aspx and you go to the design, you will see the same page that we see, right? Only these panels are populated at runtime. So these are JavaScript functions attached to it. The JavaScript SignalR library, they are attached to it, and they communicate with the backend host to get the data. Okay, so if I take a look at the web.config of this guy, we will see that there is a key, there is an association with SignalR. So this is the key that you need to add. So this is hard coded, this cannot change, and you have to specify on which port, which is the service that is feeding it. So in this project, it is localhost because the project is running locally, but when you deploy it, you have to change it to your value, that is what your cloud service for your tweet consumer. All right, I hope it's making sense. If not, I indulge you to go through it again, the recording, and then check. So if I go to my web apps, if you remember, I had that web app. So this is the one that we browse the output. If I go inside it and if I go to configure, I will see that same signal R hub URL key there, right? So this is the one that is creating the association. But again, this cannot be localhost, so this need to be your tweet consumer, right? So we saw that cloud service that was there. So this will feed your SignalR URLs, right? So this needs to change once you deploy. And one more thing is you need to turn WebSockets on for this, for SignalR to work. So by default, I forgot where it is. yeah, WebSockets. So by default, it's way off for the Azure websites or web apps, but to ensure signal R to work correctly, you have to turn it on, right? So that's the change that you want to make. So that's pretty much it, and that's it. When you run it, it shows you that output. Hope that is clear. All right. So that's the part that we are talking about, real-time analysis and showing it in your Azure website. Again, I can browse the website from the old portal as well. So I just say browse, and we should be able to see the boxes lighted up and the tweets coming in, right? So that's how the entire thing is working. Now we have some time, so let's quickly come back here and see the Power BI how the Power BI guy works. All right. So let me go to the Stream Analytics jobs again. So along with many jobs, there is one called Tweets to PBI that is stopped, or PBI stands for Power BI here. Okay. So I go inside it. Remember that it is not running, it is stopped right now. Okay, I go to the inputs. I see that it's picking up from the same tweets in Event Hub. Okay, and the output this time will be different. We have seen output to blob storage, we have seen output to Event Hubs. Now we will see output to Power BI. So again, when you create an output, you can do an add output anytime, and you can choose from the output types. So again, Event Hub is one of the output types. So that's what's been done here in this job. So Event Hub is your, Power BI is your output. If you go inside it, you will see you can specify a dataset name and a table name. Okay, so this is my Power BI console. Okay, when I log into my powerbi.com, this is how it looks. I have some inbuilt dashboards, right? So these are when you have Power BI, you have this inbuilt dashboard just to give you a glimpse on how awesome reporting can be done on Power BI. But we will not focus on this. We will not even focus on this. This is an old one. So we will see that we have to renew the authorization here. So it will connect using my credentials. So I have to make sure that my Azure Event Hub is authorized, to talk to my Power BI dashboard and my Power BI account. So yeah, authorization was successful. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead. Oops. Okay, yeah, I want to save it. Okay, it's testing connection. In the meantime, I'll go back and I'll start the job. Okay, so there is some customization you can do. You can provide a custom time. You can start it from the last when it stopped, but I'll just start it from the current time, the job start time. Okay, so I say start. So this will take a while to start. Okay, this might take a couple of minutes. It depends. So one thing to see here is under dataset we have only this guy. Okay, and that too there is some issue in this. I don't remember what is that. It's showing an exclamation mark. But the point is, we will soon see as if the stream analytics job starts successfully, that means it will start streaming in data from your Event Hub to your Power BI directly. So we will see new datasets popping up in my Power BI site. Okay, if this starts successfully. So let's wait for a few seconds to start, and even I'll get a couple of seconds of breather. Okay, thanks. Okay, so again, still till it starts, I just wanted to inform that remember that one of the stream analytics jobs is used to archive the blobs to persistent blob storage, right? Again, so here comes Hadoop or HD Insight. If you are not aware, HD Insight is nothing but Hadoop running as a service on Azure. So you can use Hadoop and HD Insight to batch process, or to do the analysis at rest on this data. That is, so you can spin up a new Hadoop cluster, you can point this storage account as its storage, and you can run your MapReduce jobs or whatever analysis, whatever Hive queries you run to, you bring to your Hive tables and do stuffs like that with this data. So again, that's the second part altogether. As I said, I'll try to create a second part of this if there is enough interest, or you can see some previous recording that does almost the similar thing. At least you will get an idea. So that's how the entire analysis cycle will be completed. Okay, so it said it succeeded. So now let me go back to Power BI, and I don't have anything, which is not good. So I'll just try refreshing it. So sometimes it takes a while, so that's internal calls that are being made in a different tenant. So that sometimes could take a while, but not more than a few minutes at max. So I'll just refresh this guy. And yeah, so this website is running, it's streaming, so it will run all day, right? And it will show you at a glance how things are going again. But to perform, so all an analysis cannot be done when it is running like this, right? So we need to use Hadoop and other data at rest analysis systems to do further analysis based on time frames and whatnot. We will take a glimpse of that as well if there is time. So I'll just close this guy here. Okay, let me see. Okay, it's still not come, which is not good. Okay, let me make sure that my stream analytics job is running. Okay, that's cool. Um, so the monitor tab typically shows you the usage. Okay, so there is no input event bytes as of now, which is not good. Yeah. So the tweets are actually coming. It's receiving input. Okay, here you go. If you remember, we named the datasets at Twitter DS, right? Twitter DT. So this Twitter DS has started popping up here, right? So I can just click on it, and you will see uh, that I'll get the table that I name as Twitter DT, if you remember, right? And it has these three tables. So if you, again, this is powered by this stream analytics job, right? Tweets to Power BI. So if you go to the query, you will see that I'm getting the count, the topic, the total count as tweet count, and the average sentiment score. So if I go to Power BI, you'll see the same things: the average sentiment, the count, and the topic that we are getting, right? So what we can do is we can take the tweet count, how many tweets it's getting, and we can create a gauge out of it. Okay. What we can also do is uh, we can take a topic, and we can take a tweet count, all right, and we can do it as a funnel chart, right? We can like arrange it like this, and we can, yeah, I wanted to save the report, so I saved the report as uh, FB Facebook demo, and I say save. So under report, you will see something called Facebook demo. So now I want to present the data. So it is there, right? It's coming. Now I want to present the data in the dashboard. So let me create a new dashboard and name it again the Facebook demo. Okay. And let's come back to the report, and let me click on this, and let me pin to this dashboard. Okay. Pin. And let me pin this guy as well to this dashboard. Okay. Pin. And let me go to the dashboard again back. So these are pinned, and if you will see that this data is getting updated in real time, right? So the tweet count is 673, but if you keep an eye, it will increase as and when the tweet comes, it will increase. The same is for the chart here, right? So again, the increment is low, so you may not able to visually see it, but these are actually moving, right? as the counts are increasing, these numbers are changing. So again, this is with least or no effort. I can create a moderate, real-time visualization of the data that I'm getting in, right? Again, uh, Power BI is very powerful. So you can go through what Power BI is capable of, and you can design your visualizations accordingly, which will give you a great report altogether, a great dashboard altogether. Typically, what happens is you complete your analysis of data in motion and the analysis of data at rest. You complete both. You have both the output, and typically Power BI report consists of a combination of both. So the report becomes even more great, right? So one of those reports are here, which is the Twitter dashboard, right? So this is done by running a Hadoop cluster or running MapReduce jobs on the data at rest in the blob storage, and some analysis on it, like what is the time period when maximum tweets come, what are the tweet by hashtags, what are the popular hashtags and stuff like that. So there are 2-3 pages to it, so I can get the time zone, get the geography of the tweet publisher, the poster of the tweet, and I can plot them in uh, a map. I can even see a okay, this is not yet supported in Power BI, but this works in Power BI for desktop. So you can even do a time series analysis of on the data that you get. Okay, so that's a lot that you can do on the data at rest, and your report ultimately should combine details from both. So these reports will be static, while those real-time reports will be uh, um, they will be dynamic. It will change according to whatever the data comes. So I'll just go back here. I'll show you one more thing, which is this also support nice natural language query features. So if I can, yeah, I can just say, so it's called Power BI Q&A. Okay, so wherever is my dashboard, I can just go to that screen, and I can say natural language queries like show count of tweets. Okay, so it says 124. So for this report, they have 124 tweets received. Okay, I can even say in the morning. Okay, so it says how many tweets I received in the morning. So based on the time. So that's another impressive thing where you don't want to open any report, or you can just based on the data model that you have in the background, it will show you all these stuffs here. All right. So yeah, that's pretty much that I had here. That's how the entire thing works. As I said, I'll open source, and I'll share everything that is required for this, all the solutions, all the PPDs, and a step-by-step README where you can follow and implement this. If you have an Azure subscription, if you get stuck, just let me know. I'll open source the Visual Studio solution as well, so that you can develop and you can change it as to suit your needs. Right? So thanks a lot, guys. With this, I'll just stop presenting, and I'll just stop the recording as well.